there is a peace for us that has nothing to do with our circumstances. John 16:33, it says this, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. We shouldn't be surprised when as Christians, we go through difficulties in this life. And yet how many times, that every time we go through difficulty, we begin to doubt God's love for us. How many times when we go through trial, we begin to doubt our standing before him. Jesus didn't say in this verse, you might have tribulation. He said, you will have tribulation. But he also told us not to lose heart. Why? Because he has overcome the world. Our great Savior has overcome the world. This means that sickness and disease doesn't win. Discouragement, depression, anxiety, these things don't win. Whatever heartache or weight or pain that you have walked through or you're walking through right now doesn't win because Jesus has overcome the world. That is a truth. Now here's what's so important for us to understand. That right now we see in part that victory. But we will see them fully in eternity. We often get stuck in the here and now mentality. We get so focused on all that we see before us. And when we do that, we become extremely discouraged. God doesn't have a here and now mentality. God has an eternal perspective on everything, on every disappointment, on everything that we walk through, on all the ways that we thought life was going to go this way and it didn't, and it went another way. We need an eternal perspective. God sees what we can't see. And it's not just about here and now. Looking forward to eternity is not just a Band-Aid on our pain. It is our hope. Living with eternity in sight doesn't deny our pain, but it gives us the strength and the peace in the midst of them to keep on going. We weep, we grieve, we hurt, but we keep on going. If our mind is fixed on worst case scenarios, on all the what ifs, on all the uncertainty, we will no doubt be without peace and full of anxiety. But if our minds are fixed on who our peace is and where our peace comes from, then the opposite happens. Sometimes peace doesn't come easy. It is rooted and grounded in truth, but yet we need to grab hold of that truth, remind our hearts and minds of that truth, and refuse to let it go. In case you didn't already know, our lives are never going to be fluffy and comfortable here and now. Jesus' life was not fluffy and comfortable. Ease and comfort is not what you and I were promised. Peace in the very midst of those times is what you and I were promised. And not just a peace, but a peace that passes all understanding. I once heard a pastor say that if we were promised life to be blessing after blessing after blessing, and that's it, he said we wouldn't have been promised a peace that passes all understanding. It would be a peace that makes perfect sense, wouldn't it? It's easy to have peace when everything is well, but we've been given a peace that passes understanding. Some of the greatest times of unexplainable peace have also come in the greatest times of turmoil in my life. I can honestly say that I am just as grateful for those times of turmoil as I am for the times that God has rescued me, because it's in those times that I have felt his nearness like I have never felt before, that I have felt his presence with me, holding me, helping me, keeping me like I would not if I hadn't walked through those things. And I wouldn't trade those times for easier circumstances. He is with you. Isaiah 43:2, it says this, when you go through deep waters, I will be with you. When you go through rivers of difficulty, you will not drown. If there's one thing that you've heard me say over the last 9 years, and I will continue to say as long as God has me in this place, is this life is not all there is. Fix your eyes on eternity. There's a day coming without death, without pain, without mourning, without crying, and he will wipe every tear from your eye.